Welcome back to the Deep Dig Sports Pod. I'm your host, Drew. My other host right over there.
What's up? It's D. Good to see you again. It's an awesome week. So this week, 49ers won. They are now the number one seed because the Dallas Cowboys did it. They beat a team with a winning record. It's awesome. It's lit. Tommy DeVito, Will Levis, two guys, doing their thing, getting wins when they shouldn't. So it's awesome. We're going to be touching base on all of that. Before we dig into anything, though, be sure to hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe. The pod is really growing on YouTube. And be sure to drop some comments below. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, just looking over that 49ers Seahawks game really quick, something that stood out to me is a lot of the players hitting their overs for the 49ers offense. And we did hit our diamond pick of the week for the fifth week in a row. So how many units we up on the season?
We are up 7.5 now.
So make sure you guys subscribe because every Saturday before the game, we are giving out the best 49ers picks. But yeah, a lot of players hitting the overs, way over for McCaffrey on rushing yards. Debo doing his thing, Ayuk doing his thing. This offense, is it one of the best in the league right now? Is Purdy gonna win the MVP?
It's Purdy is in the conversation of top 5 QBs in the league right now. So let's not get that twisted. He is in that, but I would say it's kind of Dak Prescott's to lose because he does have a lot of big games coming up over the course of the rest of the season. And really the only big game left for Brock Purdy is the Ravens game. And so, obviously he is in the running. If we had just the, call it quits today and the season ended, I would say Brock Purdy is the, MVP of the NFL, but we've got to play out the rest of the season. There's a lot of big games on the Cowboys schedule, only one big left on the Ravens schedule. But who's to say the Cowboys actually win a good majority of those games? So I think Brock Purdy will end up being the MVP, but Dak Prescott has a real chance to prove himself. And anyone saying he's a check down merchant, you're not watching the games.
Yeah, we're not gonna go through all the fucking stats and go over, the stats are out there. If you really hate Brock Purdy and you're trying to say that he just fucking check down Charlie and he doesn't throw downfield, all you have to do is go to X or Instagram and see that people are posting the stats. He clearly pushes the ball downfield. He's one of the best downfield quarterbacks right now this year, and he's put together a good resume. So just because he was last pick doesn't mean he can't be the MVP.
And he's dynamic. Even his receivers are yeah, we've seen him throw dot after dot after dot. We were actually at the game and we seen the Debo throw coming and we're like, oh, this is gonna be awesome. This is gonna be awesome. And he throws it over the top and it was just perfect. It was just on a line. The lady behind me was like, Purdy shooting ropes. And I'm like, I don't think that's what you mean. I don't think that means what you think it does. But yeah, he is shooting ropes. But no, honestly, he looks good. And he even said after the game that he feels stronger than he did pre-surgery. So that's, he is more mobile than people think. He is a better decision maker than people thought coming out of college. And he has a better arm now. He is MVP level quarterback.
Yeah. And this team is just rolling right now. The Seahawks really didn't look like they had a chance throughout this whole game. 49ers were in control, even though it was kind of close. The only downside I have for the 49ers is that punt play didn't count. The run by the punter, that would have been amazing. But other than that, not really too many bad takeaways from the game. What do you think?
Yeah, only a couple of takeaways that were bad were 2 injuries. The Charvarius Ward very early on. We seen it as he was defending DK Metcalf. He immediately went down and was just on a knee for at least another 3 or 4 plays on the sideline. So that's one area of concern. The other area of concern is Javon Hargrave, his hamstring, but both are, now trending towards playing, which is nice. But we'll see. And once they get back Eric Armstead, who actually missed this game as well, it's going to be a full-on blitz going against, Lamar Jackson and his Ravens. So get right. Just all you have to do is get a win in Arizona. Then you're playing the Baltimore Ravens in the last big game of the year.
Yeah, it was clear that the game plan was to stop DK, and that kind of stopped the offense. They shut him down, got under skin. He got ejected. So really good of Lenore, Ambry, all these guys to kind of step up, and Jair Brown out there looking really good. So I'm feeling a lot better about the secondary that we were having questions about early in the season.
Yeah, and that's one thing. As soon as Ward went down, everybody next to us was like, oh, shit. Now it's just going to be the DK show. And they did get it to him a couple more times, but I don't think he had another catch after the first quarter. So the young guys really did step up. Diamador Lenore, Ambry Thomas are really coming into their own. And everyone was like, Jair Brown is getting a pick this game. Like everyone could kind of feel it, and it ended up happening. I think one, you get these flashes of Drew Lock where it's like, oh, like this guy's actually a starting quarterback. Like he actually looks pretty decent for like a good chunk of the game. And then it's, oh yeah, I'm going to just chuck it deep, and it's like underthrown and it's like a duck. So you just take the good with the bad. He's a backup for a reason. It sucks that they didn't have Geno Smith, but hey, I also don't think it would have made that big of a difference because we've seen them just beat Geno Smith 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Any concern going forward against the Cardinals and Kyler Murray?
No, I think it's an interesting spot for Kyler Murray. I think that he's already proven himself I think he's going to stick around in Arizona. I don't see them jetting him off anywhere. Do you?
No, and this is what I said. They shouldn't have even played him because worst case scenario, they won a couple games. I don't think they would feel amazing about him, but they don't feel bad enough to get rid of him. So now you're stuck in this no man's land, and you just got to keep rolling with him and hope. I mean, he has looked good at times, but is he good enough to win? And are you even in the spot to win with the franchise quarterback? You're not. You got rid of all your talent. So a rebuild would have been the best move, but now you're kind of in the middle of the draft now.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. I think they are going to still be draft position for one of the better wide receivers in this draft. Obviously not Marvin Harrison Jr., but what are the other guys, So is that going to be enough? Probably not, but hey, I mean, you got to do what you got to do. Maybe they trade the pick and they get a couple more picks in the later rounds. We'll see, but it is a weird no man's land. There's not a whole lot on that team that you'd feel great about. I mean, you feel great that the coach has been very competitive. The team is still trying hard to even this late in the season. And that's kind of it. Like you don't feel great. Like besides Kyler Murray, you're not like, oh, we're going to build around Kyler Murray and this core of guys. And it's like, you're not. You already know, like, you're going to gut this entire team. It's just like, where do you go from here?
Yeah, they need to add talent. I mean, their defense doesn't have a lot of like foundational players, like you're saying. The offensive line could use some work. The skill players, I don't really believe in. I mean, maybe Connor.
Rondale Moore.
Yeah, but I've seen him have some drops here and there. I mean, he's just fast. He's really fast. But yeah, they need more talent all around, and it's going to take more than one offseason to build that around Kyler again. But I think the coach is not that bad. I mean, we thought he was going to be a dud, but he got the guys fighting.
Yeah, man. I think, like, again, that's one thing that he can say is, like, this team did not give up. Where in the past with Cliff Kingsbury, just last year, we've seen them just completely give up, go to shit multiple years. So, hey, like, that's building something in Arizona, and I think you can hang your hat on that. But as far as this week, if I'm the 49ers, what am I worried about, dude? Like, again, they get paid,
run it down their throat,
but just beat the shit out of them. Like, just go out there, run the ball with Mason 1,000 times, and let's just get out of there with a win. That's what good teams do, and that's what a lot of good teams failed to do this weekend.
Yeah, and we'll talk about our predictions for the game and everything during our Diamond Pick on Saturday. So make sure
be sure to subscribe. Be sure to subscribe. We're hot.
We're winning. We're hot. The Eagles lost to the Cowboys. and Eagles just not looking the same, man. Their secondary is not good at all. They're getting handled physically. Is this just the season catching up to them, or is this who they are?
I think that's who they are right now. I mean, again, we talked about this previously. They didn't have a good linebacking core. They don't have a good secondary. And so they're just being exposed. I think I was listening to, I think it was Middlecoff talk about it. He was like, okay, well, let's look at it. Your defense has taken a step back. Jalen Hurts obviously was still good, but he's not playing at there's something off there.
Yeah,
And then
could be
you
hurt
lost
still.
your offensive coordinator and your defensive coordinator. And these guys just aren't the coordinators are not as good as they were last year. And so Dan Quinn going against their offensive coordinator, he washed him. He beat his ass. And then McCarthy going against their defensive coordinator, he washed him. You won both coaching like head to heads. And so yeah, I mean, it just makes sense. And today, Eagles fans were actually standing outside of the building. I don't know if you've seen that. They had last week, they were like, run the ball. And Sirianni was like, huh, that's funny. This week, there was some that were out there, and it was like 2 trash cans, and it said Slay and no play Slay and Bradbury. So, yeah, I mean, it's pretty known now. Like, that's the weakness. The over the middle is where you're going to get a lot of these chunk plays. And the Dallas Cowboys, credit to them. I know you called them a soft team. It was all you. It was never me. But no, realistically, like they really put it on them, dude. And they have some guys there that are physical in Tony Pollard. Jake Ferguson is a monster, dude. I love that guy. And then CeeDee Lamb, of course, just gets open.
Yeah,
Brandon Cooks looks good. He's been in the league forever.
This is more telling of like last year this Eagles team was fucking stacked.
Yeah.
I mean, you lose Hargrave, you lose Charney Gardner Johnson in that back in the secondary. It was kind of like pick and choose who you want to keep and hope that you got enough left to keep it going. And we thought with the draft, like Jalen Carter, bringing in like is Nakobe Dean.
Nakobe Dean was already there. I think he was just kind of on
brought him up a little
IR,
bit,
but he got hurt again this year. He's not there. Reed Blankenship got hurt this week as well. So
they drafted a linebacker too, right? In the second. Yeah. So they're just hoping they would fill those gaps and it would kind of be cohesive. But I think it's just telling more that they did lose some top end talent and the bottom end couldn't come up and the coordinator's not the same. So that's really telling right now. And with the offense, like, yeah, Jalen, he's playing good, but like it just looks off a little bit. It's not all the way there. And this offense relies too much on the big play. It's like, okay, we're gonna get a bunch of 3-and-outs, but if we hit Devontae Smith on a fucking go route, then we're back in it. Like we're good. And you just can't play that way in this league. Like the Dolphins can do it, but they also run the ball really well and they move the ball without those big plays. So you have to be able to do the intermediate and short stuff.
Yeah, I think they just don't have a good, like, Sirianni and the OC just don't have a good feel right now as far as like what is going to work. It just seems like
their
they're kind
identity
of throwing it at the wall and like, okay, this is what we've done in the past, but it's not. Teams are adapting. It's not hitting the same way. So I don't know. Maybe it is the season. Maybe you just need a couple of these because, again, the 49ers beat them. They look tired. Then you come out. It's not like you got like a whole week of rest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then you come back and you play the Cowboys. So it's just tough. But I mean, that's what it is. This is National Football League, baby.
Yeah, and I fully believe the Eagles are going to come back and win that division. They have an easy schedule going the rest of the way. They can kind of build back and get momentum going. They do play DeVito, so maybe DeVito keeps that. They got that team energized and keep it going. But I don't think they have the talent to beat the Eagles. We'll see.
Yeah, and I mean, so now that takes Dallas, as of right now, is in the lead in that division. The 49ers take the number 1 seed in the conference. But if the Eagles win out, Dallas has a much more like tough schedule ahead of them. They're more likely to drop a game than the Eagles do. But again, like you said, they have DeVito. They have the Seahawks coming up. You never know.
Yeah. moving around the league, Mahomes and the Chiefs lose a tough one to the Bills. I mean, Josh Allen played decent. The Bills actually just played really well. Their defense is looking good. They deserve the win, but that's not really the controversy going around. Mahomes got to be fucking held back like it was Malice in the Palace on the sideline, trying to get to the ref and yell at him. And then after the game, continues to go off on the ref about Kadarius Toney lining up offsides on that play where Travis Kelce pitches it to him and he scores. This is like the craziest instance of someone going off on, like, dying on a hill where they're completely wrong and everyone agrees that they're wrong, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that's just one of those things where you're just not used to not getting your way. Like, you're NFL spoiled. And so when you're used to constantly getting your way, like, you go back to, okay, there's been a lot of ticky-tack calls that have gone towards the Chiefs. And so everyone was calling that out. But yeah, I mean, this is one instance where it just didn't go your way. And so he just kind of lost it. I don't know. Clearly he was offsides, and they don't even deny that themselves. They're like, yeah, he was offsides.
So why the fucking big pony show? Like,
it was a dope fucking play. Like, you got to negate that flag as soon as you have a dope lateral. Like, as soon as that you pick up the flag, you're like, hey, play was too dope. You know, we're gonna negate this penalty.
That's not the way we call this league, sir.
Yeah, it was
if
too
you had this
rad.
reaction last week when the Packers tackled their guy and they didn't call it. Yeah, but I don't understand why he continues to drive this point of like, shouldn't have called that. And it's like, bro, he's literally lined up over the ball. You can't see the ball. And it's the right call. So like, why is Mahomes continuing to go off about this when it's like what is the point of saying, like, you know what, that he was lining up offsides, but you shouldn't call that? Like, what?
And for him to complain to Josh Allen of all fucking people after the game, bro, if I was Josh Allen, I would have just laughed in his face. Like, why are you telling me? I don't give a shit. I won the game. Fuck you. What do you want me to do? Like that commercial where
not just fucking to Toney was lined up wrong too. Their tackle was lined up wrong. It was illegal formation.
So it doesn't even matter. But yeah, you constantly bitched about it. Like, I don't think we're gonna hear the end of it. Like, I think Pat Mahomes is gonna be on his soapbox the rest of the year about the refs. And I don't know what the NFL is gonna have to do. They're gonna have to fine him and Andy Reid as well. I just don't like. I don't get it in my mind.
I don't hate the message that the refs have been fucking up and everything, but like, wrong time. Like, this is where you're gonna make your stand.
This is
on the correct call. Like, just because you're mad that you lost. Like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah, I mean, it was a cool play.
It was really cool.
It was so cool that you probably should have picked up the flag. But I mean, this is the one controversial like penalty that literally I think everyone besides Chiefs fans like
universally
100%. Yeah, like
I've not seen anyone argue that, like, you know what, Mahomes has a point. They shouldn't have called that because blah blah blah. Like, even Mahomes, like, his reasoning for being mad about it is like, I just don't follow the logic.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it does like put a cloud over what was a good game. It came down to the last possession, but at the end of the day, like, you should have done a little bit more.
Here's okay.
You could have won the game earlier.
Here's what just popped in my mind of why Mahomes went all crazy like this. The narrative was gonna be so overly Kadarius Toney fucking sucks that Mahomes took it upon himself to go crazy and create this media storm about him to take it off of Toney.
Good teammate. What a good teammate. Mm-hmm. Dude, that is a franchise guy. That is what you want. No, but I've actually been seeing a lot of people just coming for Pat Mahomes' head. Like, I think haters were just waiting for him to fuck up, and they're like, "Yeah, that looks like that's Jackson Mahomes' brother." Fuck.
He's the face of the league. He can't lose his composure like that. And then you got people on fucking Sports Center fucking jerking him off about it. Be like, you know what? I love what his messaging. I love he class act, blah blah blah. And
Man,
it's like,
Genie, I seen that. Yeah.
bro, really? That was classy when he fucking didn't shake Josh Allen's hand and be like, hey, good game. You're just gonna tell, oh man, whatever.
And I get it. Like, again, you're upset, but Josh Allen shook your hand after that, 13-second loss. Like, so you got to just kind of have some grace, but I don't know.
It's
Like,
just
I think
wrong hill to die on for me.
yeah. And you're just feeding the haters at this point. Like,
I think he just didn't want to, like, all that anger and frustration, he wanted to explode on Kadarius Toney. He just
which
took
he
it out
should have. Honestly,
on
they
the
should
ref.
have fucking fired Kadarius Toney this week. There's no reason for Kadarius Toney to be on that team. Like,
It's not the first time he's done that.
he's lost them 2 games.
Yeah.
So, like, what are we doing? He can't catch. Like, yeah, they don't have a whole lot of options there, but you have to set the tone, and you should be going off on that guy. He should be fired realistically, but they don't have a whole lot to deal with. But Pat, it's okay to be mad at your own fucking players. Do that. Like, what are you doing? Have some kind of fucking fire for them. They are losing you games, bro.
All right. Well, let's talk about a couple of quarterbacks who did win this week. We got Tommy DeVito for the Giants, and we got Will Levis coming back on the Dolphins for the win. Which one do you want to start with?
Let's start with DeVito.
Yeah, this guy kind of rejuvenated this whole fucking franchise because you're paying Daniel Jones $40 million a year. I didn't like the deal at all. And then coming in, he just doesn't look good. And I thought this team was like one of the worst teams in the league, if not the worst. And DeVito just has them feeling like they can win a Super Bowl. Like, they can't, but he has them feeling way better about where they were.
I think he's just fun. Like, you know what I mean? It's just one, he's a fun guy. He's a character. I seen one tweet. It was like every single franchise should have their third string quarterback just be an egregious stereotype of the area. And I love it, dude.
Did you know he lives 12 minutes from the stadium and he lives with his parents still?
Yeah. It's awesome.
That's crazy.
It's
Yeah.
awesome. It's fucking awesome. And so I think he's a character. He's fun. His play on the field is fun. And you start to look, and when you squint, it's like, okay, what's Daniel Jones like do? He's athletic. Like, he's not very good quarterback, but he's an athlete. And Tommy DeVito is almost every bit of an athlete as well. He's not like no slouch. He has a little bit of an arm if you think about it. And so when you like, oh, what should we do here? Well, one guy's fucking contract is insane, and the other guy is an undrafted rookie. Obviously, you have to play Daniel Jones when he gets healthy, but you feel pretty good with Tommy DeVito just there as a backup.
Well, Daniel Jones is not coming back till next season. I would trade his ass because
Who wants him?
you got to find someone, because
No one.
even if you supplement some of that contract, you kind of break off half of it to someone else. Like, I mean, DeVito's running this offense better than Daniel Jones has. And it's just ridiculous that we're going to go back to Daniel Jones now. Like, this is going to be another Mike White situation where it's just going to go back and forth, and the team's going to be cheering for Mike White like crazy. Like, it's going to be cheering for DeVito.
You have to, like, again, you fucked up. You made your bed. You have to stick with Daniel Jones. Like, you'll always have Danny DeVito or Tommy DeVito there. Danny DeVito.
Tommy DeVito. Them together is Danny DeVito.
Waiting in the wings, but you paid this guy a ton of money. It's the same thing that's going on in New Orleans with Derek Carr, where you gave Derek a bunch of money. He doesn't want to sit. You kind of want to sit him because you would rather play Jameis or Taysom, but you're 1 year into his deal. You can't fucking do that. So you got to ride it out. You got to figure out if Dable can really get along with this guy. But look at even Brian Dable. He's turned around. He looks like he's having fun. He doesn't hate his life. He's somewhat on like amicable terms with Wink Martindale, who I guess fucking hates him as well. So
is he the one that made the 9/11 joke or 9/11?
It was the Bills guy.
Oh, okay.
McDermott.
Yeah, that'd be probably good that it wasn't Dable in New York. Well, wait, Buffalo, New York. So
Yeah.
Yeah, tough. Go look
But
up.
I
Go look
mean,
up
they
what
beat a
Peter
good
said.
team in the Packers. Like
Yeah,
we were just like, oh damn, like is Jordan Love real? Like is this going somewhere? Do they have their third QB in a row? And it's like, okay, let's pump the brakes on that a little bit.
DeVito straight up saved Dable's job, and you're gonna say next year he's gonna run the risk again with Daniel Jones just to turn back to fucking DeVito halfway through and get fired?
All right. I was hearing one fan theory that Dable doesn't even want to be there anymore. And that if Sean McDermott gets fired, he's gonna try to get over there, back over to the Bills.
Why would the Bills go want Dable as their head coach or
Because
coordinator?
Dable, Josh Allen was with Dable as his OC.
Oh, when they
That
were
was the
good.
best he looked. So that they could, you know what I mean? Hey, let's get the band back together.
There is gonna be a lot of movement this offseason with head coaches and everything.
So I mean, it's not insane to think about. You know what I mean?
What about the Will Levis situation? We'll just start here because we got a lot of flack a couple weeks ago when we were comparing Will Levis to Kenny Pickett, and we were not high on Kenny Pickett.
Kenny
Not
Pickett
really,
fucking sucks.
not fans of Kenny Pickett. Saying Will Levis, had a higher ceiling. We liked what he was doing. But you guys threw some, stats at us, whatever, agree to disagree. But looking now, did you know Joe Flacco in his 2 games has 1 less touchdown than Kenny Pickett on the season? And Will Levis just came back on the Dolphins. So how are we feeling about Will Levis now?
Dude, he is a roller coaster ride to watch. I don't know if you caught a lot of that game because they did this stupid thing where both games were running simultaneous, but he has insane plays where he is like, I'm going to be Cam Newton and I'm going to truck 3 guys. I'm going to flex on them. Then he's going to throw like a bullet and then he's going to throw the weirdest duck and it's like, what? It's all about reining it in for Will Levis. Let's get some consistency. Let's stop your gap from being like totally bad and completely fucking awesome. Let's get it more over here so it's just in that realm. But I mean, you see the potential there with Will Levis. You see what he would be capable of. Now it's just about reining that in, narrowing it down, and creating a diamond out of pressure.
Yeah, I think just watching him the eye test, you think like, man, there's something here. Like this guy's explosive, and he doesn't really have weapons on the receiving side.
No.
He has old DeAndre Hopkins, but yeah, he get some weapons around him, kind of give him some more checkdowns and like some easier passes to kind of get in the flow of things and open up that deep pass because this guy could sling it.
And one thing I like about him is like it definitely feels like he thinks this is his team. Like
Yeah.
he is not afraid to be himself, to state his opinion, whether it's, against DeAndre Hopkins or some coaches like, hey, this is what I want to do. Like, this is how I think we should run things. And it's actually really nice to see him just kind of step into a leadership role on this team.
Do you think Vrabel stays?
I have no idea. It's going to be, again, I think this offseason is going to be such a coaching carousel. Who knows? Who knows?
I mean, if you're Vrabel, this guy just kind of rejuvenated your career because now you restart the clock. Like, okay, now let's rebuild a little bit, and we do like a 4-year plan.
I mean, but like, I'm hearing that college programs are reaching out to him. I think it was Texas A&M had just checked. But if Ohio State, like, if they let go of Ryan Day or Ryan Day chooses to just like step down, you don't think that they would pay him a boatload of money? Like, there's like schools out there. Let's say he wants to go up to New England after Bill ends up leaving. Like, just there's random things that we just don't know are going to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Some of the other.
But hold on. But both teams that should have won just didn't, dude. The Packers and the Dolphins. Dolphins were doing this for the number 1 seed, and they dropped this game. That's ridiculous. Dolphins are frauds. Right? They're soft. They're frauds.
You guys let us know in the comments, are the Dolphins frauds? Because at times, yeah, I'd agree with you. At times, they have looked like frauds. It's kind of front runner, right? Front
Yeah,
runners,
I mean, they're just beating up on bad teams.
Cowboys. I mean, a lot of teams are doing that this year. So,
I mean, you can't say that about the Cowboys no more. They had their test. They beat the Eagles.
all right. Well, speaking of bad teams, we got a couple on the board here. The Chargers, their season's over. Justin Herbert's done for the year. They got to fire their coach, right? They got to fire Brandon Staley.
Yeah, but they're so cheap, they're going to keep him the rest of the year. They're like, there's no way we're fucking paying a guy and not having him work. He's going to finish out. But he should be fired. He should have been fired prior to this year. If I was going to do it, I would have, again, fired him and went all out for Sean Payton. That would have been your best move. Hey, you know what? We need an offensive guy here to really take Justin Herbert under his wing and show him what it's like to win in the NFL, to be a champion in the NFL. But I mean, we just see the Chargers are such a fucking poverty franchise, dude.
And this thing, now you waited too long. Like, where's the great coach that's going to come in and like really coach up Herbert? It's a bad season to be with the head coaching vacancy because everyone's looking for a head coach. And you really don't have anything attractive other than you're in LA and you have Herbert. I mean, you don't have cap space really. Your defense isn't that great, even though you have a lot of players on there who are big names. Your receivers are always hurt. Quentin Johnson didn't work out. Eckler looks like he's too slow now.
Yeah.
And Herbert, like he really, I don't want to put him in an elite category until he does something elite. And that's just, I don't know if that's just me, but yeah, he hasn't really done anything.
And I mean, I know they have Kellen Moore sitting right there, but I mean, you look at what the Cowboys have done. They've gotten better when Kellen Moore left and Mike McCarthy has taken over play calling. He gets over to the Chargers. They don't look great. They actually look like they've regressed, but also how much of that can you blame on Kellen Moore just because they don't have weapons? You know what I mean? So, I mean, would you feel comfortable? I think, would any team feel comfortable making Kellen Moore their head coach right now? I know before the season, me and you were like, oh, that's an automatic head coaching spot for Kellen Moore, but I don't think so, right?
No. He'd have to. He'd have to interview well, and I could see him getting one, but nah, he's not a top candidate anymore.
Yeah, and so, okay, and then it's like, all right, well, where do I pivot from here? I know a bunch of people are saying like Eric Bieniemy,
but he hasn't really done a bang up job where he's at either.
They're like, oh, but look at what he's done with Sam Howell. Sam Howell before this week had 70 more passing attempts than the next person. He is all they do is pass, bro. It's insane. So it's not a great head coaching spot. Like, yeah, you have pieces on defense, but we've seen those pieces aren't really gelling together. We know that you have Justin Herbert, but at the same time, you're in the same division as Patrick Mahomes. Mm-hmm. Why would you want to step into that and be second fiddle for this, this team that up until this year has looked like, hey, we're going to be a dynasty.
And I mean, I'm not a fan of the guy, but you got Sean Payton coaching his ass off in that division too.
Yeah, comeback coach of the year.
Yeah.
That's not a category, but yeah. I mean, if it was.
Another candidate that's had his name that you thought would be a lock is like Ben Johnson, the Lions. They're starting to fall apart too. They get a loss to who'd they lose to?
It was someone. Let me see here.
It was someone. They lost to the Bears.
Oh, yeah.
To the Bears. Justin Fields just went crazy on that defense, running the ball. And yeah, their offense has the same burst. Their defense looks terrible. They're going to limp into the playoffs.
Yeah, and I mean, with them, like, their defense has always been suspect, but you're like, okay, well, this offense is going to get it going. As soon as they get outdoors, outside of a dome, they are just inept. Like, they just don't look like they can function like that. And I think that's a product of Jared Goff being a California guy, a guy who never, again, he was with the Rams. He was now with the Lions. Like, they don't play outdoors. So it's just one of those things when you get him in these later games, you're hoping like, oh, if we get him at home, we're going to fuck him up.
Yeah. And just lastly here, going to the worst game, not just of the week, but maybe of all time. Nobody scored until the final 2 minutes of the game. The Vikings versus the Raiders. The Vikings ended up taking it 3-0. So Josh Dobbs, I believe they're moving off of Josh Dobbs. They're gonna go with Nick Mullins. Their team's been banged up. The Raiders they're just bad. The Raiders are just bad team all around. They don't have a lot of talent. Who's worse right now? I mean, Vikings are 7-6. I think they're in the playoff. If the playoffs started today, they'd be in.
I mean, getting shut out and then losing to a team that only scored 3 points, pretty bad. That's pretty bad. And this is it again, it's so crazy. Josh McDaniels took over a team that made the playoffs.
This was not a rebuild.
This was not a rebuild, bro. Like everyone, I was like, damn, the Raiders won the offseason.
Is Josh McDaniels make you 1 or 2 more games better?
Yeah, and I was like, damn, they got a legit head coach. They got Chandler Jones. They got Devontae Adams. Like that offseason, I was like, oh, this is going to be like, and they just made the playoffs. They had Hunter Renfrow. They had Darren Waller. They had Josh Jacobs. Derek Carr was playing at a playoff level clip. And they just couldn't do it, dude. Like Josh McDaniels ruined that franchise. And so now you have to restart everything. I would have just traded Devontae Adams at the trade deadline this year. He asked for it. You should have gave it to him. I think that this offseason, if he asks for it again, you do it. I think you trade him. I think you trade Max Crosby, and you just restart this franchise just based off of that. With those 2 guys alone, I think you get 2 first rounders, 2 second rounders, and then a player.
Yeah,
and that's enough to get like, hey, let's just get something. Let's start to build up because we have so many fucking needs on this team. The Raiders suck.
Yeah, I mean, because you're 5-8 right now, you're not getting a top pick. Aiden O'Connell looks okay,
but he's not the guy.
I don't think
he's not the guy.
Yeah, I'm sure he could be a placeholder for a year, but yeah. I mean, they tried to do that with Jimmy G, and look how that worked out. Antonio Pierce is not the guy. I don't think he's the head coach. But who's going to want to come there at this point? I mean, you got to basically you're in a away game every week. Because I mean, clearly it was clear from the get-go that this team was not going to have a home audience because they've moved from Oakland, they moved from LA to come out here. There wasn't current fans. And then they went to the number one destination where away fans would want to travel to go watch their team.
Vikings fans were doing the skull chant in Allegiant, dude. That's how fucking crazy it was. It was a Vikings home game.
And the Raiders were acting like, well, we don't care because we're going to make a bunch of money. So that's fine. But I mean, honestly, they should have, if they wanted to move to Vegas, I feel like they should have just rebranded everything because then it's a new team and you build new fans. And you kind of build up that home fan base. I mean, look at the Knights, the Golden Knights. I mean, they were like an expansion team, but you just get in all these new fans for something brand new.
Yeah, I just don't think you can do that. Like, the Raiders are a staple in NFL culture. I think you had to keep the brand.
On Vegas, I mean, they're a staple in California.
Yeah, I mean, here's what you should have did. Trade the name to the Chargers.
Yep.
Let the Chargers be the Raiders. The Raiders become something else. And then bada bing, bada boom. Hey, LA Raiders. Then Chargers immediately get a fan base, but it's the Raiders. You get what I mean.
That'd be pretty dope. We're trading team names now. Yeah. How many first round picks is that worth?
That's 5 first round picks and $1 billion.
I wanted to talk really quick. The NBA in-season tournament came to a conclusion. The Los Angeles Lakers won the whole thing. They gave LeBron James the tournament MVP. What all came of this? Like, what do you think? Success? Who
Did
cares?
anyone watch it? Comment down below if you guys actually watched it.
I believe the ratings were bad.
I mean, even the best and regular season NBA game gets still rated lower than the shittiest Thursday night game for the NFL. So, I mean, when we're talking NBA, it's all relative. You know what I mean? But I don't think a whole lot of people watched it. I think a lot of people talked about it, like there was buzz, but which is good for the NBA. But
So
ultimately, I don't think it added up
the
to ratings.
uh the game peaked at 5.68 million viewers. It was up 46% from last year's season opener.
That's cool. I mean, I don't watch the opener, but
Yeah, this is set ratings marked not seen in about 6 years. But at the same time, like college football is getting way more views than this. Like this isn't like 5.68 million isn't like a crazy number for the Lakers.
yeah, I mean, but I mean, it is in today's NBA. It is like that's a success. Congratulations, Adam Silver. You did it. Whatever it was, you did it. I just don't care. I don't. I mean, and did you see that they actually hung that banner? And people were bringing up that video of like Kobe where he's like, we don't hang division titles. We don't hang conference titles. Like, and they're like, we hang in-season tournament titles.
So this would go down as the eighth most watched basketball game on national TV. So yeah, success, but
Success,
also
good job.
throughout the tournament they didn't have really a lot more ratings than usual.
I will say one
And
thing.
it's starting to rise the question like what's the benefit of this? Like what do the fans gain? What do the players gain? Because I mean LeBron just fucking swiped 500K from a bunch of bench players. So
I thought he got them a bunch of money, right?
for the Lakers players,
Yeah.
but like the other team,
Who gives a fuck? He did it for his team. So as long as he did it for his team, that's fine. You know what I mean? And I think he did say like he told the like rookies like, "Hey, you guys are gonna get a check. Like I'm gonna bring this to you." So that's cool. Again, as long as the players care about it, like that's fine. And maybe later on, this is something that'll actually like pique my interest. So right now it doesn't. So it just kind of is what it is. It's a factor of the NBA. The NBA did raise ratings. So again, something that they can show for this TV deal that's upcoming. But I just don't know.
Halliburton said it should be a playoff berth.
It should be. I think that'd be cool. I think you add a little bit more stakes to it. I think you tweak it. I think you stop with the fucking courts.
Yeah,
They're such an eyesore. Like
I think you either move this later in the season so you can do it as a playoff thing, because then you could kind of seed the tournament with whoever with the schedule with the wins, or just make it instead of doing the stupid round robin division thing that doesn't really make sense to America, do it just doing All-Star Weekend. Like no one cares about All-Star Weekend anymore. Like just do like an actual tournament.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
You know how much views that would get in like a 4-day thing where you just like do a whole tournament?
That actually would get a lot of views. Yeah. I think that'd be better. But load management, how are you going to do it? Like if a team already feels like they're going to make the playoffs, are they just going to bounce out of it? Again, all these logistics.
Well, I mean, there was no really advantage to winning it this year, and they kind of tried. I mean, the players played hard.
I think again, 500K is good, but 500K plus a playoff berth, I think you'd see Draymond Green out there choking Rudy Gobert.
Was it rigged that the Lakers got the first one?
Nah, I think that's just kind of how it played out.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it was rigged.
All right. Well, you guys let us know in the comments how you feel about the in-season tournament. We're not big fans, but maybe we'll come around on it.
I mean, if you enjoyed it, more power to you.
Yeah, let us know what you enjoyed, or like what do you think worked well? Because I mean, maybe we're just not looking at the right way. Maybe we're just too stuck in the current format.
Yeah.
We want to wrap today's episode with the Deep Dig Disco show for Discovery, where we talk about something we discovered this week. Could be a book, could be a movie, could be music, could be literally anything. Yeah.
I mean, Obviously, we are sports guys through and through, but we cannot do that shit 24/7, 365. Obviously, we have to intake other media. So my deep dig disco this week. So Spotify actually has a ton of audiobooks. I'm not sure if any of you are Spotify premium members, but I've been logging in and I've been seeing like, oh, hey, this book popped up. Oh, hey, like, so they've actually added a ton of audiobooks. If you are going to go buy an audiobook, I would actually check Spotify first now, just because if you're a premium member, you can get that for free. The book that I've actually just started listening to, which is really, really interesting, it's Kitchen Confidential Adventures in the Culinary Underbelly. It's by Anthony Bourdain, and it's actually narrated by Anthony Bourdain himself. It's how he fell in love with food, taking you inside restaurants and the big 5-star scene. So it's actually really interesting. I would highly recommend. You can stream it on Spotify if you have Spotify Premium right now, or I'm sure any audio platform. But yeah, that is my disco. I would highly recommend, and it's actually really cool just because Anthony Bourdain has already passed, so it's him narrating his own story, telling the first chapter is telling a little bit about his childhood, how he fell in love with food, his different experiences, getting it from his parents. So it's really cool, and it actually means a little bit more knowing that he's passed.
Yeah, love some Anthony Bourdain. Love watching his show. There's his book. I really want to buy his physical copy of the book. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna check out that thing on Spotify. Um, Mine for me, like now that my schedule's kind of starting to open up more and I have time to watch more TV, with school ending and everything, I have two quick seasons to give to you. Both Amazon Prime shows, pretty mainstream, but I'm barely getting around to it. Invincible season 2, the first 4 episodes I believe are out. Fucking amazing show. The writing's great. It's like playing on every comic book trope, but like giving them fresh twists. Um, this one touches on like the multiverse a bit, but I think it's the best one to do it. Marvel and DC's try to play with it, but Invincible's doing it the best by far. Really good season. Episode 4 was fucking crazy, crazy twist. Didn't see that shit coming, and now I'm like, when the fuck is episode 5? Because they're taking a kind of a break, so I need that. I need it immediately. Also, the show Gen V, the spinoff from The Boys, follows like the college level heroes, where they're trying to like earn their way up the ranks. I watched the first episode. Wasn't sure I was gonna be into this show, but yeah, it's pretty good so far. I don't know where they're gonna take it, but I heard it leads directly into the next season of The Boys. So definitely the characters are interesting so far. Writing's pretty good. The powers are weird. This girl like controls her blood, so she can like do blood knives and stuff. So pretty crazy. And it looks like you got a guest. But yeah, go and watch those couple of seasons. I'll keep you updated on how I feel about it.
All right. Yeah, honestly, I've heard really good things about Gen V. I've heard that like as a standalone, obviously it's not great, but it's basically like a half season of The Boys.
Yeah, I mean it has the same tone. It's pretty good so far. All right, guys. Well, that's everything for today.
Appreciate it. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe and drop some comments below. Let us know.
See you guys.
Later.